On her podcast the other day, comedian Sarah Silverman weighed in on so-called cancel culture, and she claims there can be unintended consequences. Take a look.
In this cancel culture, and we all know what I'm talking about, whether you think there is one or there isn't one, or where you stand on it, and there's a lot of
15 women have accused him. We've heard about the Stormy Daniels story, you know, that he allegedly paid $130,000.
Were you canceled on your show?
I was. Only because,
you know, that you didn't watch Trump's second inauguration and you protected your peace.
Yeah.
But let's get your reaction to a few things that happened yesterday, if we can.
Okay.
On the show today, you called out the hypocrisy of having Trump be inaugurated on the same day.
Legal expert. That is wrong. And I will
He's
tell
not
you,
going to jail over
I will
this.
tell you,
He's not going to jail
I will
over
tell
this.
you why you're wrong. Prosecutors are not only in the business of prosecuting crimes, we're in the business of sending.
Who hates Christmas? Melania Trump hates Christmas. She doesn't want to decorate for Christmas. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She doesn't want to sleep in the same room with him. She can't tolerate him.
Allegedly.
And she does.
Yeah, how do you know all this?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know all this.
Allegedly. That's why I say allegedly.
So, how does a big daytime talk show end up in a legal showdown with a former First Lady? Yep, that's exactly what's happening. Melania Trump has slapped The View with a jaw-dropping $100 million defamation lawsuit, and it's sending shockwaves through TV networks, lighting up social media and stirring up political debates like never before. Sonny Hostin, one of the show's most outspoken co-hosts, is smack dab in the middle of the drama. People are already speculating, could this lawsuit put her on thin ice and force talk shows everywhere to think twice about how they handle controversial topics? Here's where it gets really interesting. We're about to dive into every dramatic detail, every bold claim, and what this could mean for the future of talk shows. And let's be real, this isn't just about one comment that went a little too far. This could set a whole new standard for what TV hosts can and can't say about public figures. Let's dive into the shade and all the juicy fallout. But before we do so, make sure first to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell for more videos.
Critics are going hard after a liberal media member for vile comments about Melania Trump. She doesn't want to decorate for Christmas. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She doesn't want to sleep in the same room with him. She can't tolerate him. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the First Lady.
I was. Only because, you know, we're a very supportive environment for women. I mean, I think any guest will tell you that.
Nobody saw this coming.
You know, all the mathematical tables. And by the time I got into third grade, the teachers said, she's just passed all the standardized tests up to 12th grade.
The video added
about
a new
that, and Donald Trump saying things that this country would be a meritocracy. You're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit. He had no political experience whatsoever. He had no business experience. He was given everything.
No, I don't get how you can have a TV show where one day you say something and the next day your legal department is forcing you to tell everybody that that was just a complete lie. I mean, in what world does that make sense? But hey.
Curious about Melania's backstory? Love a little daytime drama? Or maybe legal battles are your thing? Whatever it is, buckle up because this story's got it all. Oh, and by the way, this feud between Melania and The View isn't exactly new. It goes all the way back to her days in the White House. She's been a hot topic on the show, whether it's about the Rose Garden makeover or those rumors about her not being a big fan of Christmas decorations. Yep, the drama runs deep.
Garden. Who hates Christmas? Melania Trump hates Christmas.
Sonny Hostin I think she went to Binghamton undergrad, and she went to Notre Dame Law School, which is a great law school. Her son right now is at Harvard. That son she wants us to think is sitting there oppressed, who she's got to fight on behalf of because America is so awful to him. They're educating him right now at Harvard University. And Jason, would you take a look at this? Because I'm going to guess, I haven't been to your house down in Tennessee, but I'm going to guess it doesn't look like this. This is Sonny Hostin's home in this country that she can't stand, that doesn't treat Black people like Sonny well. She let People magazine feature her home. Look at this. This country. She went to Notre Dame Law School. She makes millions on The View. Her son's at Harvard. I'm sure her daughter's at private school on her way to some Ivy League. This is where Sonny lives. And America. I can't stand how you've kept us all in chains. That's her messaging.
You've probably heard the jokes floating around. Things like Melania Trump secretly hating Christmas decorations, or even the entire holiday season. Sounds wild, right? While fans of The View might chuckle at those remarks, her supporters, not so much. For them, comments like that have always hit a nerve.
Him. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady anymore. Wow. I mean, that is violent. They've got to stop talking like that about a former president who's had two.
And let's be honest, Melania's marriage to Donald Trump has always been a magnet for public curiosity. Is she truly happy by his side? Does she back him through every headline and scandal he gets tangled up in? These questions pop up time and time again, and The View's co-hosts have never been shy about diving right in. Over the years, they've speculated on everything, whether she dreams of living away from him or how she really feels about her public duties as First Lady. Some folks see it as harmless chatter, while others think it crosses the line into being outright mean or invasive.
I think
But
she
now
hates
this-
him. Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, so we can all agree on that. That's a given. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady anymore. They agree with you. She doesn't want to be the first lady. She destroyed the Rose Garden. Who hates Christmas? Melania Trump hates Christmas. She doesn't want to decorate for Christmas. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She doesn't want to sleep in the same room with him. She can't tolerate him.
Allegedly.
And she does.
Yeah, how do you know all this?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know all this.
Allegedly. That's why I say allegedly.
But now this simmering back and forth has blown up into a full-blown legal showdown. Melania, who stayed pretty quiet during her husband's presidency, isn't letting this one slide. And if you've ever wondered how far a public figure might go to defend their image, well, you're about to find out.
We've heard about the Stormy Daniels story, you know, that he allegedly paid $130,000.
Were you canceled on your show?
I was. Only because, you know, we're a very supportive environment for women. I mean, I think any guest will tell you.
So, what exactly did The View say this time to spark such a dramatic and ridiculously expensive response? According to insiders, the latest episode didn't stick to the usual jokes about Christmas or the Rose Garden. Nope, they went deeper. The co-host reportedly made some very personal claims, suggesting Melania doesn't just dislike her public role, but also feels major resentment towards her husband. The most jaw-dropping claim? That Melania can't stand Donald Trump and actively avoids him, even when they're under the same roof. Now that's some serious drama. The co-host threw in some spicy jokes, claiming Melania refuses to sleep in the same room as Donald Trump. They even suggested she might be secretly working on an escape plan if there's ever a second term in the White House. Talk about stirring the pot.
Thinking about that and Donald Trump saying things that this country would be a meritocracy, you're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit. He had no political experience whatsoever. He had no business experience. He was given everything that he has. He is a legacy hire. He is, if anything, a DEI hire, a didn't earn it hire.
With the left and Melania Trump. Why can't she just be her own woman and have separate?
And she can.
And so why all that criticism? I mean, that was gross from The View.
And I
look,
agree.
The View is not the litmus test of America. We don't think that.
They were afraid of that remark. That was their problem.
So why did they handle it that way?
It might sound like something straight out of a gossip magazine, but when a show as big as The View tosses out these ideas, it can seriously shape public opinion. And that's exactly the heart of Melania Trump's defamation case.
On the show today, you called out the hypocrisy of having Trump be inaugurated on the same day that we commemorate Martin Luther King Jr.
That's what struck me.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
most,
it's Jan
actually.
20th, the unfortunate lining up of dates here between Martin Luther King Day and the inauguration of Trump.
I mean, maybe I got too cerebral about it. You know, maybe I was too in my head about it. But I just started thinking, my goodness, someone who has a Justice Department settlement because his father and Trump himself would not rent to black people, you know.
To her, these aren't just offhand remarks or awkward jokes. She sees them as factually wrong and damaging enough to hurt her reputation. Sure, The View is known for its fiery debates, but the big question now is whether the show crossed the line from lively discussion to something that could legally count as defamation.
all the mathematical tables. And by the time I got into 3rd grade, the teachers said, she's just passed all the standardized tests.
What really caught everyone's attention was how quickly Melania took action. Instead of issuing a statement or waiting for the drama to blow over, she went straight for a legal route. And we're talking a lawsuit with a jaw-dropping $100 million price tag. That number alone says a lot about how serious she is, and maybe even serves as a warning to anyone else thinking about taking a jab at her. But here's the real head-scratcher. Why go for such a massive amount? Celebrities sue for big money all the time, but a 9-figure claim? That's next level. Some people think this is Melania's way of showing just how damaging she believes these accusations are. Others say it's a strategic move to keep the story in the spotlight, making sure it doesn't get brushed under the rug. Either way, this lawsuit isn't just a blip on the radar, it's huge. The stakes for The View, and especially for Sonny Hostin, are sky high. The lawsuit points out several episodes where the host didn't just gossip, but presented unverified claims as if they were hard facts.
People have to wonder, where does Sonny Hostin get her opinions? Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist. Because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist. You see?
Defamation cases aren't easy to win. Melania's legal team will need to prove that these statements were false, harmful, and made with either negligence or malice. They're working to show that claims about her marriage or supported hatred of Christmas aren't just baseless. They're presented in a way that makes viewers think they're completely true. Since Melania has always kept her personal life private, her lawyers are likely to argue that these kinds of allegations skew how the public sees her, hurt her future opportunities, and damage her overall image. Think about it. This isn't just about her feelings being hurt. It's about real lasting damage to her reputation.
He was cheating while Melania was pregnant. That was all.
That's not going to come in front of the jury, though. The judge has ruled that won't come up.
We're on television now. And then after Melania gave birth to the baby, he found Stormy to strip around with, right?
Yeah.
It's like people should look at him and say, you know, what kind of an insecure... You know what I mean? It's like, oh, my wife's pregnant. I'm not attracted to her big belly or something. And now she's paying attention to the baby and not me.
These comments, made on such a massive platform, are at the center of this legal drama. If Melania's lawyers can convince the court that these remarks were made with malice or complete disregard for the truth, things could get messy for The View and its co-hosts. Now here's where it gets even juicier. This lawsuit lands right when The View is already under a magnifying glass. The show thrives on bold personalities and spicy debates, but you've got to wonder, how do network executives feel about the looming cloud of a 9-figure lawsuit? Probably not great. And let's talk about Sonny Hostin. She's been especially outspoken when it comes to Melania, throwing around rumors and even questioning her marriage. If this case goes to court, Sonny might have to provide evidence or name her sources, if there are any to name. It doesn't stop there. A full-blown defamation trial could mean depositions. Imagine every single thing Sonny has ever said about Melania being dissected under oath. Private messages, behind-the-scenes conversations, stuff the network probably doesn't want dragged into the spotlight, could all come out. Even if Sonny stands by what she said, going through a legal grilling is no small thing. Meanwhile, people are speculating about ABC, the network behind The View. Could they try and calm the storm by reining in the co-hosts, making some internal changes, or even issuing a public apology? After all, in cases like this, the platform that airs the remarks can face legal trouble too.
Stephen pointed out Sonny's mistake, and she didn't seem too happy about it.
Like, for example, when you talk about the LGBTQ community, I'm a fiscal conservative and I'm a social liberal. I'm fiscal with my dollars. I ain't apologizing for not wanting to pay high taxes to anybody. But outside of that, but you had folks on the left that were introducing some things when we got in the whole transgender issue, and they were talking about bathrooms, or they were talking about males transitioning to females and competing against girls in sports and stuff like that. These
That's
are
less than 1% of the population.
speculation.
That's where the mistake is made.
Yeah.
You're saying it's ridiculous, but most of the voters out there don't think like that.
But that means they don't have the information.
Okay, but 90% of the voters don't have the information. If you're out there busting your tail to make ends meet and to pay your bills and you're going to work every day and you got a family to take care of, you don't have time to know what you and I know.
Maybe you need to listen to the news when you're in traffic.
Now here's a twist. Sonny Hostin's legal background could complicate things. She's not just a commentator, she's also a lawyer. Critics are saying she should have known better than to step into defamation territory, and that raises the stakes for both her personally and professionally. At the same time, the public is completely divided. Melania's supporters are cheering her on, saying it's about time TV personalities stop speculating about people's personal lives, especially someone like Melania, who's kept pretty private. But critics are pushing back, calling this a blow to free speech. They argue The View is supposed to encourage lively debates, not tiptoe around every sensitive topic.
The term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. So I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and so
migrate.
why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
Too dark, too dark.
If I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty quick.
You can see the way Sonny Hostin, the way she's touching her above her eye, and she can't even look at him because she's an activist, not a journalist or whatever it is that she purports to be.
So here's the real question. Where's the line between sharing an opinion and crossing into defamation? And that's not even the end of it. If Melania wins, could this open the door for more public figures to start suing talk shows and networks every time they hear something they don't like? Sonny's defenders say her comments were fair game, based on rumors that have been swirling for ages, and delivered with a satirical edge. But let's be honest, when it comes to defamation law, saying it was just a joke doesn't always cut it. If the statement sounds factual and can be proven true or false, the courts might not see the humor.
Appears to signal her support for reproductive rights in a video out yesterday.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth. Individual freedom.
Right now, this is shaping up to be a battle between two huge ideas: free speech versus the right to protect your reputation. Some legal experts think this might not even make it to court. They're predicting a quiet settlement, maybe some money exchanged behind the scenes, or even a public apology to make the whole thing go away without all the drama. But if Melania decides to go all in and take this case to trial, things are going to get intense. Picture depositions under oath, Sonny Hostin and other key figures getting grilled, and every little detail turned into headline news. Can you imagine The View having to address their own legal drama while trying to keep up their usual daily banter? It would be chaos. And if Melania wins, even if it's not the full $100 million, but still a big payout, it's going to send a loud and clear message. Public figures can and will fight back if talk shows cross the line with their comments.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard.
This lawsuit is already making waves in the TV world. Networks are probably panicking behind the scenes, thinking about how to protect themselves from something like this happening again. We could see a lot more caution on live shows, more fact-checking, more allegedly disclaimers, and fewer bold, unfiltered comments. And let's face it, co-hosts might hesitate before throwing out spicy rumors or harsh criticisms. Nobody wants to be the next person slapped with a massive lawsuit for something they said on air. But here's the other side of the coin. If The View wins, it could set a big precedent. It might show that talk shows have the freedom to discuss rumors and critique public figures without constantly worrying about lawsuits. Some people will call that a win for free speech. Others might see it as giving media even more room to push boundaries and dive into people's personal lives without much accountability. And then there's Sonny Hostin. She's right in the middle of all of this. Could this lawsuit be the end of her time on The View? It's hard to say, but if this legal battle drags on, reputations are definitely going to take a hit, and the stakes are only going to get higher for everyone involved. Daytime TV might never be the same after this legal showdown. If Melania wins, it could open the floodgates for politicians, celebrities, and influencers to sue anytime they feel a talk show has stepped out of line. Imagine the ripple effect. Hosts walking on eggshells, networks scrambling to avoid lawsuits, and a total shift in how shows handle sensitive topics. But if The View comes out on top, it could have the opposite effect. Hosts might feel bolder, more confident to say exactly what's on their minds without worrying about massive legal consequences. Either way, this case could be a turning point for the tricky relationship between public figures, the media, and the ever-present debate over free speech. Now let's not pretend this is uncharted territory for The View. This show is no stranger to controversy. If you've been keeping up, you'll remember that big moment back in early 2022 when Whoopi Goldberg stirred up a storm with her comments about the Holocaust during a discussion. It was a major scandal that sparked widespread backlash and led to a lot of reflection, not just for Whoopi, but for the entire show.
Groups of people.
Well, they
How
go
do we
after black
They
people
just see
too.
them as white
And they
people.
go
But you're
after
missing the
homosexuals.
point. You're
Yeah.
missing the point.
Yeah.
The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley. Let's talk about it for what it is. It's how people treat each other. It's a problem.
This 66-year-old co-host apologized on Twitter later that day, writing, "On today's show, I said the Holocaust is not about race, but about man's inhumanity to man. I should have said it is about both." As Jonathan Greenblatt from the Anti-Defamation League shared, the Holocaust was about the Nazis' systematic annihilation.
So here's what went down. Whoopi Goldberg made a comment that caught a lot of people off guard. She said something like, the Holocaust wasn't about race. It was about man's inhumanity to man. And let's just say, people didn't take that lightly. The backlash was immediate and intense. Many felt her words weren't just wrong, they were deeply insensitive.
Holocaust isn't about race.
No.
No, it's not about
maybe
race.
ethnicity.
Yeah, they
No,
consider
it's
Jews
about
a different race.
But it's not about race.
It got so bad that Whoopi had to publicly apologize. And the network even stepped in, suspending her for 2 weeks. ABC News executives called her comments wrong and hurtful. For a while, it felt like that's all anyone could talk about, and not in a good way. This all started during a segment about a Tennessee school board banning Mao's, the Pulitzer Prize-winning graphic novel about the Holocaust. Whoopi expressed her surprise, questioning why the board was more upset about nudity in the book than the actual topic. She said something along the lines of, "This is about the Holocaust, the sweeping off of 6 million people, but that didn't bother you?"
Every single American has all been taught that certain people, and black folks, because a lot of the cops who are shooting down innocent black folks are also people of color. So we are all in this system where we've internalized these ideas about folks of color. And so the work is to examine those implicit biases and see, and they affect in ways in which we interact with each other, and also public policy.
The Holocaust isn't about race.
No.
No, it's not about
maybe
race.
ethnicity.
Yeah, they
No,
consider
it's
Jews
about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about
Well,
race.
what is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy. It's
Well,
about
but
going
it's
after
not. It's
Jews
not about
and
race.
gypsies and
But these are two
Romans.
white groups of people.
Well, they
How
go
do we
after black people.
As the conversation went on, things got even more heated. Whoopi doubled down on her argument, even as her co-host tried to offer different perspectives. The United States Holocaust Memorial Museum even weighed in on Twitter, reminding everyone that racism was central to Nazi ideology. They explained that Jews were targeted because of their race, not just their religion. The backlash was massive. Some people even called for Whoopi to be fired, though she managed to keep her spot on the show. But let's be real, this wasn't just about her. The View has been criticized for years, and not just for its politics. Some say the show silences minority voices that don't align with their narrative, while others accuse it of preaching tolerance while stirring up division.
And they go
But
after
you're missing the
homosexuals.
point. You're
Yeah.
missing the point.
Yeah.
The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley. Let's talk about it for what it is. It's how people treat each other.
It makes you wonder, is The View sparking important conversations, or is it just adding fuel to the fire? Now let's shift gears to some juicy behind-the-scenes drama. This one's about Rosie O'Donnell and Whoopi Goldberg. Rosie, who'd been a co-host on The View twice, had been pretty open about why she left both times. The first time was disagreements with other members. But when she returned, it was her clashes with Whoopi that really made headlines.
You said nothing, and that's cowardly.
No.
Nothing,
That is
Elizabeth.
do not call me a coward, because number one, I sit here every single day, open my heart, and tell people exactly what I believe.
Did you think Elizabeth took your comments in that book out of context? I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, she knows too.
That
That's
was-
the thing, is that she knows. She knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Their arguments weren't just small workplace squabbles. They were intense and tackled some heavy, controversial topics. One heated exchange reportedly went something like this. Rosie O'Donnell mentioned raising a black child, saying you don't have to be black to understand racism. Whoopi disagreed, claiming you do, but Rosie wasn't backing down. The back and forth was fiery to say the least.
I have a black kid I raised, Whoopi. I have a kid in my house. That is not the same thing. You don't have to be black to know what racism is.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do,
no,
baby.
You do not.
Yes, you do.
Things got even messier when they clashed over what should or shouldn't be discussed on the show. Rosie later claimed one of their biggest fights was about a high-profile essay case. She also said she wanted to bring attention to deeper issues, like the Marcus documentary about Abu Ghraib and allegations of U.S. torture. But according to Rosie, Whoopi wasn't interested in diving into those topics, even as the world followed the legal battles connected to them.
We've always been black. We don't think about it. It just is. But other people want us to address, is it racist? Do you think it's racism? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and it's just crazy.
You don't think
I
it's
have been-
racist if somebody turns to the leader of the free country and says, "Can you park my car?"
It's pretty clear the drama on The View doesn't stop when the cameras are off. The tension backstage seems just as intense, making you wonder how much of it spills over onto what we see on air. Now, let's rewind to 2007, when Rosie's first run on The View ended after ABC decided not to renew her contract. But the drama didn't start or stop there. In 2020, Rosie opened up in an interview with Howard Stern, revealing that her relationship with Whoopi Goldberg was rocky from the very beginning.
Yes. You need to know what racism is. Racism is when somebody comes up die. That's racism.
Yeah.
She was upset with, I threw the commercial because I didn't know that she saw the countdown. The guy was going like this.
If you thought the on-air tension on The View was intense, wait until you hear what Rosie O'Donnell had to say in Ladies Who Punch, the explosive inside story of The View by Ramin Satuda. Rosie claimed that Whoopi's attitude toward her on the show wasn't just cold, it was downright hostile. She described it as the meanest anyone has ever been to me on television. Watching old clips from her time on the show, Rosie admitted still brought back those uncomfortable memories.
Hi. I was wondering if you ever talked to Whoopi Goldberg after the Ladies Who Punch came out and what your current relationship is like with her.
Well, believe it or not, we bumped into each other physically at the Megan Mullally show of her concert in Cafe Carlisle, and we were very cordial and said hello, and I worked on a project with her for ABC since this whole McGillicuddy occurred. And, I'm always going to respect her. I'm always going to look up to her. She was somebody who was inspirational in my career, and, you like to keep those people in a place of reverence if you can, and that's what I'm hoping.
Excuse me, wait a minute. If me and Rosie were going into a store together,
They would follow your behind
they would
too.
follow me and not her. When my sister and Carmen and I were in San Antonio, we are in an exclusive hotel. We're in an exclusive VIP lounge. There are millions of people up in that, right? We walk in and they ask my sister Carmen to clean the table.
Yeah.
Okay?
There was so you think the lady walked up and said because she's a Hispanic woman, or because she just assumed that all Hispanic people who are in there can't afford to be there? Is it ridiculousness or is it racist?
It's racist.
But the drama didn't stop at personal feuds. Whoopi Goldberg has also faced her fair share of criticism over how she's handled sensitive topics on the show. One of the most talked about moments? Her comments about Bill Cosby, which caused a huge uproar at the time. During a segment on The View, Whoopi weighed in on the accusations against Cosby. She reminded viewers that, in her words, innocent until proven guilty is the law in the United States, at a time when many were condemning Cosby over serious allegations of intoxication, and SA. Her remarks stood out as incredibly controversial.
We talked about Cosby, and I said what I've always said, innocent until proven guilty in the United States of America, because that's our law. So people have been coming after me.
Whoopi didn't hold back when she shared her perspective on the accusations against Bill Cosby. She talked about her own experience with allegations, saying that once a claim is made, people believe it no matter what. She even expressed curiosity about one of Cosby's accusers, wondering aloud if they'd ever come on to the show to answer her questions. Her skepticism didn't stop there. Whoopi questioned why the accuser went to a lawyer instead of the police, adding that hospitals typically conduct SA kits when someone reports an incident. To her, that seemed like the next logical step. This wasn't just any conversation. It was one of those moments that cemented The View as a show known for sparking heated debates. Some viewers love the bold discussions, but others think the show crosses the line, leaving people divided about whether it's promoting meaningful dialogue or just stirring up unnecessary drama. And Whoopi wasn't done. She stirred the pot even more by questioning whether financial statements automatically mean guilt. She suggested that maybe Cosby settled with his accusers just to protect his family. But her co-host wasn't having it, and quickly pointed out that during the time of the alleged SAs, survivors didn't have easy access to SA kits. Whoopi, not one to back down, fired back with her own take, keeping the tension high.
Well, here's the deal. This is The View, and that was my opinion.
They woke up and said, I want to ruin Bill Cosby today? Maybe. Okay.
I'm sick of this bull. Here's the bottom line. For me, it's my...
But what do you think? Should talk shows have the freedom to dig into personal lives, or is there a point where they should back off? Is Melania's lawsuit a fair way to protect her reputation, or could it set a dangerous precedent that limits open discussions on big platforms? Let's hear your thoughts. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos like this.